pick up this 9 o'clock position. If Cal spots that out, he's going to be fairly good. Robotics facility now going, so he's finally going to start working. Actually, cancel one cannon, now that I think about it. Is getting a robotics facility as natural expansion, going to work on his observatory now, try to get those observers out there, because lurkers could quite possibly come into this game from Jaedong now that he has a lot of hydras out there, has some strong economy going, might have hydra lurker in there at this point. And despite some damage, trying to force back those Scourge. Scourge not going to be able to steal despite those cannons. Cal mistakenly keeping those Corsairs above the Nexus rather than flying them all the way back home and getting one of them picked off. But now we have a lot of lurkers forcing here themselves into the natural. No observer that I can see. And now Cal, if he wants to try to get rid of those lurkers, might have to just blindly storm. He's going to get one blind storm off. That's going to force one lurker back. But still 3 more out there. Another blind storm. It hits pretty well. That lurker almost dying. Another storm going to come off. Hit one lurker out in the air. But still another storm. And unfortunately for Cal, being forced to waste. I don't think he actually canceled Weapons 2 before the Forge went down. But taking a significant amount of damage here at the front. All those buildings are going to go down. Once those buildings go down, the Hydras might just force themselves through. Still some more high tempo trying to come through. Observatory following out there. And Cal desperately trying to get those observers out there so he can start sniping those lurkers, but even more lurkers going to come through. Hydra to support with Carapace 1 upgrades at this point to equalize a little bit those weapons upgrades on the Zealots. Now the Citadel Gateway's gone down. Citadel might go down alongside. Not as important at this point in the game because speed already done. Temple Archives already up there, but still not the best positions to be in for Cal. Did see a couple of evolution chambers out there for Jaedong, so he's going to start working on full-on upgrades. Don't see an observer instead of shuttle? Are you kidding me? I assume he went for that shuttle while he was waiting for the observatory because he needs an observer desperately right now. Going to go for a shuttle. Going to try to do some damage there, but with all those Scourge out there, I think the shuttle is such a huge risk. Of course, if he manages to get some nice drops off, manages to massacre, basically go for the drones at the natural, at the main, massacre an entire drone line, that just might get him into the game. But apparently he's going to start by dropping off DTs. Does not want to sacrifice his High Templars at the front. Has 6 there at the natural. But with all those Scourge out, I think that's a huge danger. Still don't know whether he spotted 9 o'clock position. Don't think he has because Jaedong working on 4 bases now. Cal's still sitting on 2. Going to lose one of his Corsairs as he goes around there. 1 drone. And Overlord going to spot that shuttle. And Cal, there are Scourge there. Oh no! Dropped 1 DT. Going to drop the other DT inside the main. So lose the shuttle but stays both DTs. But only 1 DT going to go there. 1 DT there at the 3 o'clock position. Going to pick off a drone. Drone's going to come off the line, so not too many kills. 3 drone kills. Now the DT's going to hang around, try to stay alive. There are Overlords in there with speed. 1 DT actually across the map, across the middle with no Overlord support. So Cal desperately trying to keep those alive, but I'm not quite sure whether he's going to be successful with that. Lost this DT across the middle, and now this DT at the main is going to go down alongside. Not really going to manage much. Only 3 drone kills, and losing 4 drone kills if you count the drone at the 3 o'clock. But only 3 drone kills. Also losing a lot of his Corsairs, and Cal just slowly losing any semblance of control on this map. And he never really had any control, so it's pretty bad for him. He has a lot of High Templar out there that in one huge engagement might at least keep him in this. But a lot of lurkers, a lot of Hydras, huge production coming in now for Jaedong. A lot of Zealots, but with no Weapons 2. He should have his Weapons 2 at this point, but they were significantly delayed due to the fact that he lost his Forge. Not going to try to push out. And those lurkers so beautifully splayed by Jaedong that just storms are not enough. There are Dragoons out there with range at this point. We saw range being upgraded earlier on, but still Cal now, no air superiority whatsoever with no Corsairs in the air that I can see, and Cal overall in a horrible position. Going to try to move out storms, some nice storms on some of those Overlords and the lurkers as well, but still not in the best of positions. T is good. But now actually going to get attacked. Zergings and lurkers coming in close. Cal does have a significant force. Quite a few Zealots, Dragoons, a lot of High Templar as well, but he's wasting a lot of his storms. And I still think that Jaedong can replenish his army significantly quicker than Cal can. Now going to get some Archons in there as well. And Weapons 1 and Carapace 1 on his Hydras. Still only weapon. Well, finally, yeah, do see Weapons 2 hitting in there for Cal. So we're going to see what actually tries to push out with this. Still storming single lurkers out there. Not the best position to be in. Even more storms coming off, trying to hit whatever comes at him as he tries to fight everything back out this bridge. Using a lot of storms on this. Some of them nice, but still only storming very light forces. Also apparently going to expand at that 6 o'clock position. Desperately needs that 3rd base. Jaedong at this point working on Hive Tech once the followers come out there. really Cal's going to find himself in a huge lot of trouble. That Weapons 2 is helping him. Those Zealots doing a significant amount of damage, ripping those Zerglings to pieces. But he needs to desperately hunker down, get that 6 o'clock, and from then transition to yet another base. He also needs to spot that 9 because it's still in a very open position. Once they're in Nidus Canal at that base, it's going to be much easier to defend. Jaedong is taking a risk by getting that, but if it, I don't even think it's been spotted out by Cal this entire game. If he goes out there and does the damage, picks that off, he's really going to get himself back into this game. He does have a nice force, but he needs to keep a lot of it back home because Jaedong has a huge contain, bunch of lurkers, all split out like a gigantic lurker minefield, if you will. Not really a minefield, but yeah, whatever you go, lurker to one end, lurker to another end. And I'm going to see the first-person view of Jaedong. There was, I think, a first-person view of Cal earlier, but I didn't quite spot whether he had that, whether he had the scout in the 9 o'clock position yet or not. Jaedong still only on 4. Gonna start working on his 3rd base at the 3 o'clock position. So he's kind of spreading himself out all over the map, but when he gets those Nidus Clans out there, he's going to be in good position. He is trying to box in those Protoss forces. Has a lot of force coming from all sides. Iscal actually is maneuvering himself towards this 9 o'clock position, so he might have Jaedong's number, but still getting a lot of nice storms off on all those Zerg forces, forcing them back. You see a lot of blood, and that is all Zerg blood right there. Jaedong going for the attack from one huge side, didn't quite manage to get a pincer in, so Cal actually decimates all those forces come in, so now he's going to find himself open to attack the 9 o'clock position if he feels, has probes also moving down to that 6 o'clock, so he's going to be able to safely pick up the 3rd. Might finally go and do some damage to Jaedong here. Has a huge army going out there, still staying in this, but no mining at the man at this point. Natural expansion is still kind of staying alive, but not really much mining going on there either. His biggest lifeline now is that 6 and the fact that he still has a huge army, but this 9 o'clock position very much in the open. Nothing but 1 second colony, no Nidus Canal there. So the only thing Jaedong can manage to do, hope to box those forces in and kill as many as he can, but Cal keeping some forces at the back to fight those back. Only Dragoons here at the 9 o'clock position, take down the hatchery, and Cal also has even more reinforcements coming in. Zealots and Dragoons kind of glitching himself out a little bit, but I think Cal might actually be able to hold this. Finally has some Templar coming in. There is going to be a storm. See a storm on top of some of those Hydras, bunch of Hydras getting melted and forced back. 3rd storm didn't quite hit everything, but that hatchery is going to go down. So Cal getting himself back into this beautifully, back into this game. Doesn't lose that many forces here. Some Zerglings going to come in close with no Zealots to support at the back. The Dragoons do have a significant amount of trouble against just Zerglings, but Mule has picked off this 9 o'clock position. Jaedong has his replacement 4th base at the 3 o'clock position, but still losing that 1 base. It was, of course, out in the open, a significant target for Cal to target, if you will, but he's done that now. Nice attack here. Jaedong just not working on his Defiler Mound. Had to just get a bunch of forces out there. I think he's actually a little bit delayed than he would have otherwise wanted, and he doesn't have really much saturated at that new 4th base of his that it would have been his 5th otherwise. Now going to try to force himself back a little bit at Cal, but Cal, I must say, really liking his High Templar play. Not getting a lot of his High Templars sniped without, at the very least, getting the use out of them. Has a lot of High Templars in his armies, doing a lot of damage overall, and now we see the total first-person view of Jaedong. He knows there's a little bit of trouble, knows of all of Cal's bases, and Cal is going to need to expand yet again, or else he's going to get in a little bit of trouble trying to desperately micro while macroing up. Of course, as you see, food count low as freaking hell for him now. I mean, mineral count, rather. Said food count, meant mineral count, but yeah. We gotta love mid-level, mid-game PvZ. Cal Milo now going to see the first-person view of his. Does not know about the 3 o'clock base at all. Has a bunch of probes. Going to now mill towards that lower left-hand position button. Does not know about Jaedong's new 4th base. Going to have Weapons 3 out there, though, so he's going to be able to go for that once he spots that out. But unfortunately, getting scouted here at the lower left-hand. Had a bunch of probes milling. They're going to lose those. Actually, not going to lose those cannons, but going to lose some forces there, but still going to be able to safely pick that base up, I think. Just trying to take the lower side of the map for himself, trying to take the south and hold the south, get that 4th base going so we can have 2 bases mining from a bunch of probes going to go towards this new location. Cannons adding in as well, but some Zerglings very close by, and see that Cal has forces on all sides. Now he's going to start protecting both bridges. And, of course, smart from him. I really like this move of taking the main at the lower left hand. A little bit more distance for him to carry. And for Jaedong to jog, and Cal can just sit on that ramp, and of course much easier to defend that one single small ramp rather than try to defend the entire bridge. And also once he gets that base up in decent defenses, one can stream forces across the entire south side of the map. He's going to be able to pick up the natural expansion at the lower ramp yet again. Yet another engaging. Cal getting some nice storms off, and Jaedong just running some of his forces straight into that. Unfortunately, not too many forces at this point. Still some High Templars, but I think these Archons actually cleared this up rather well. And those weapons 3 really coming in handy at this point for Cal. Finally, some defilers out there.